"You'll regret this," the wealthy socialite hissed, her perfect makeup unable to hide her fury. "Nobody crosses me in this neighborhood." But she had no idea who she was dealing with. Sarah Wilson might be just a nurse, but after 25 years of handling difficult patients and entitled families, she had developed something her trespassing neighbor would soon discover: a backbone of steel beneath her gentle smile, and a brilliantly creative way to make boundaries sparkle. After decades of dedicated service and saving every penny, 58 but paradise came with an unexpected problem. Victoria Harrington, her wealthy neighbor, a third-generation Charleston socialite who believed Sarah's garden was her personal extension. The first encounter seemed innocent enough. Victoria appeared at Sarah's garden gate in designer tennis wear, eyes critically sweeping over Sarah's simple clothing. "I just wanted to let you know that the previous owners always allowed neighbors to enjoy this view," Victoria announced, already walking through the gate uninvited. "We have an understanding in this neighborhood about sharing beautiful spaces." Before Sarah could process this intrusion, Victoria had settled on Sarah's antique bench. "This spot has the loveliest view of the church steeple. I come here quite often for my afternoon tea." Sarah stood speechless, trowel in hand. "I'm sorry, but this is private property. I don't mind scheduled visits, but I'd appreciate if you'd ask permission first." Victoria's perfectly lined eyebrows rose slightly. "Evdir, I don't think you understand how things work around here." What started as trespassing escalated into a full neighborhood power struggle. Sarah would return home to find evidence of Victoria's visits: moved furniture, pruned flowers, missing garden tools. When Sarah installed a decorative fence with a lock, she found the latch mysteriously broken days later. The confrontations multiplied. Once, Sarah found Victoria hosting an entire garden club in her backyard without permission. Another time, Victoria's landscaping service arrived unannounced, claiming standing instructions from Mrs. Harrington to maintain her garden. When Sarah protested, Victoria weaponized her position as HOA president, issuing $500 fines for substandard garden maintenance and unapproved fence installation. "You see how things work here," Victoria whispered after the HOA meeting. "This can continue, or you can be reasonable about sharing your garden." The final straw came when Sarah arrived home to find Victoria leading a tour group of 20 people through her garden for the annual charity event. "This is private property, and this tour is not authorized," Sarah interrupted firmly. As the embarrassed tour group shuffled out, Victoria threatened, "You'll regret this. Nobody crosses me in this neighborhood." That night, surrounded by property documents and local ordinances, Sarah realized traditional methods wouldn't work. She needed a creative solution worthy of her nursing experience, effective, harmless, and impossible to ignore. With help from her friend Mabel, Sarah installed discreet security cameras around her garden, documenting Victoria's calculated trespassing. The footage revealed Victoria deliberately chose times, when Sarah's car was gone, signaling her hospital shifts, and always guided visitors to the same antique bench. Through neighborhood gossip, Sarah discovered Victoria was planning her annual Garden District benefit, Charleston's premier social event, advertising spectacular garden views she didn't own. Sarah's brilliant solution came from an unexpected source, the children's ward at her hospital. With the steady hands that had administered precise medications to countless patients, she carefully applied a special formula to her antique bench, a clear, completely harmless mixture containing cosmetic-grade glitter suspended in an aloe base. The bench looked exactly as it always had, but the formula would activate with sustained contact and body heat. Sarah positioned an unmistakable private property, no trespassing sign at her garden entrance, then pretended to leave for work. Right on schedule, Victoria arrived in an immaculate white linen suit, directing a photographer for Society magazine coverage of her upcoming benefit. "I've maintained this garden view for the neighborhood's enjoyment for years," Victoria claimed, positioning herself on the antique bench for multiple poses. For nearly 40 minutes, Victoria directed an extensive photo shoot, standing, sitting, pretending to admire flowers she hadn't planted. With each new pose, the invisible formula transferred more effectively to her pristine clothing and skin. "Miss Harrington," the photographer finally frowned. "There's something unusual happening with the light. You seem to be glimmering." Victoria looked down in horror as she registered the subtle but unmistakable shimmer covering her outfit. The pristine white linen captured every sparkle in the sunlight. When she touched her face, more sparkles appeared on her cheeks and jawline. "What is this?" she gasped, frantically brushing at her clothes, which only spread the effect. In her desperate scanning, Victoria spotted the small security camera among Sarah's hydrangeas. Realization hit her with the force of decades of unchallenged entitlement suddenly meeting its match. "That nurse," she hissed, fleeing the garden. At evening, Victoria's annual benefit unfolded, with her greeting Charleston's elite while subtly sparkling despite 3 emergency showers. Her carefully constructed explanation about a specialty moisturizer accident fell flat as guests noticed how the shimmer intensified around her hairline and hands. At the emergency HOA meeting Victoria called the next day, Sarah calmly presented her evidence of trespassing. The board voted unanimously to rescind Sarah's maintenance fine and issue a formal reminder about respecting property boundaries. 2 weeks later, a "for sale" sign appeared in front of Victoria's mansion. Sarah transformed her garden into a community space through invitation, not entitlement, hosting garden therapy sessions for healthcare workers and reading events for local children. As Mrs. Jenkins noted over blueberry pie, "This garden hasn't seen such joy in decades." Sarah kept just a small jar of the glitter mixture stored safely away, a reminder that sometimes justice comes with a little extra sparkle. Have you ever faced someone who refused to respect your boundaries? Remember, standing up for yourself doesn't require confrontation, just creativity and the courage to hold your ground.